In the Zelda timeline, it's rare that a hero fails to defeat their primary opponent, like Ganondorf, Ganon, Demise, people like that. But it has happened, and so far in the timeline, we've seen it happen twice. However, I now have evidence to suggest that there is a third hero who's failed, one potentially more severe than the other two. The first we know of is the Hero of Time. Technically, he doesn't fail, but the timeline splits after Ocarina of Time, making it a possible failure path. The second is the Hero of the Wild. He's defeated, yeah, but then he survives, recovers, and ultimately defeats both Calamity Ganon and Ganondorf. So who's the third? This guy. We've only seen glimpses of him in the trailers so far, so for now, let's call him, I don't know, Green Robot Dude. That seems pretty fair. Anyway, what we do know about him is that in Age of Imprisonment, which is said to be the story leading into the events of Tears of the Kingdom, not a story, the story, implying that this is canonical, unlike Age of Calamity. This Green Robot Dude holds a lot of resemblance to the Hero of the Wild. Maybe an incarnation of the hero spirit, who knows. But I think it's safe to assume that he's a good guy, given that A, he looks like Link, so he's probably nice, and B, all the people here are good guys. Why would they put one bad guy who isn't even Ganondorf? It just wouldn't make sense. Now, I know this video is about the failing hero, but I'd like to pose a question first. Who do you actually think this is? I've seen a couple of theories online, like it's Fi's spirit, since her theme plays when we first saw him, or it's Link's spirit, although that wouldn't work, since he's in the future, so maybe it's a past Link like Skyward Sword, which is something I've seen people say, which would make sense, since it is Fi's theme playing. But first I'd like to pose my own theory. I don't think it's either this or a hero spirit, rather not an actual one. This to me seems like one of two things. The first is the spirit of an older Zonai, the one that I think specifically is one with power over wind, and here's why. A while ago I did a video that you should watch, like right now, go and watch it. Alright, well if you didn't watch it, I'll give a recap. The video was about the missing secret stones, and the potential that there is another dragon, the Wind Dragon. Since there are 3 dragons for 4 places, the only place not covered by the elements the dragons wield is the Rito, the place of the wind. How does that relate to this guy? Well, I speculated that the dragons may have been Zonai warriors. What if this is the 4th and final Zonai warrior, who didn't use his tear for draconification, and his body was too old, meaning he had to place his soul inside a construct. This would make sense as to why the tomb looks so old, and like it's been locked away. However, that's not my only idea. While that idea seems as though it could be likely, my second idea was that this is a replica of sorts of Link's soul. What I mean by that is that Zelda and Minoru worked together to create a soul similar to that of Link from Zelda's descriptions of him. Why do I think this? Well, a couple of reasons. The first is that as Rauru and Link are going their separate ways on the Great Sky Island, Rauru says that you are exactly as Zelda said, so she must have had a pretty good idea of Link to be able to describe him to Rauru that well. And so I don't think it would be far-fetched to think that she had enough information on Link to almost replicate his soul using magic. This may have been how Minoru earned her title as the Sage of Spirit. Creating a spirit off of a description about someone would definitely be a feat rewarding of that title. Another reason I think this is that Zelda seems so unsure that Link will be able to defeat Ganondorf in the future. It would make sense if the person she's been benchmarking that off of is supposed to be a replica of him. That and the obvious resemblance this figure has to Link, with him even skydiving the same, having the same hairstyle, fancy hood, and even wearing an upgraded version of the archaic set, although this was likely left behind by the Green Robot Dude for Link. This figure is also right-handed like Link and carries a shield in his left, kind of. He doesn't really seem to hold it, it's just there on his forearm. I think that scenario with this being a replica of Link's soul would be really cool, and also make no sense. Although, I guess it would kinda be like Dark Link, in a way, so who knows. It's entirely possible. But anyway, back to why I think he failed. From the memories we have in Tears of the Kingdom, he's never seen, but I don't think it's far-fetched to think that the Green Robot Dude arrived after Sonia had been killed. Why? Well, if you think about it, why would he need to be around before then? In either situation of who this dude is, there isn't much need for him until after that. Another thing to point out is that he isn't present when Rauru seals Ganondorf. Believing this, I think Ganondorf defeated him, and I think he did it with ease. In the cutscene we get after defeating the seized construct, we see Minoru battling Ganondorf. Not well, but she was there, but she didn't have her construct. Now why could that be? Maybe constructs are easily destroyable against Ganondorf's power. To that end, the Green Robot Dude wouldn't stand a chance, as he is entirely a construct, by the look of it. So could have been defeated very early in the battle. Or maybe since the Green Robot Dude doesn't have the Master Sword, which I think is a safe assumption. Wait! Have you subscribed? Because I think you should. I'm kidding, you don't have to, but I'd like it if you did. That wasn't the actual reason I stopped speaking though. I think the green robot dude might have wielded the Master Sword at some point. Think about the opening of Tears of the Kingdom. When Ganondorf breaks the Master Sword, he knew about the sword.
Was that the sword that seals the darkness?
He made a point to mention the blade, and was almost surprised to see it shatter. Why would he be if he's never seen it before, and assumed it to be a normal weapon? I think that in the Imprisoning War, the Master Sword was far stronger than it is in the present, and was wielded by Mr. Green Robot Dude. How did he lose with a stronger blade? Maybe Zelda just didn't explain how good Link's swordsmanship is, or maybe he was actually just destroyed really easily because he was a construct. That could also explain why we have to make a new construct for Minoru, and can't just free the old one, because the new one has some built-in gloom resistance. I don't really know, but it's just a thought. All of this, though, points towards Green Robot Dude being very important to the story, but also not strong enough to defeat Ganondorf, which, if this is canon, we know 100% that he fails. This figure isn't seen in Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild, and Ganondorf wasn't defeated. The only question that remains is, can he truly be considered a hero? Under normal definitions, he could be. The reason I say could be is because we don't really know what he is. If he's conscious, he would have free will, and he chose to be courageous and fight in the war, if he even did that. But if he's a normal construct, programmed to fight, that isn't a hero. It's a machine designed for this encounter, which isn't heroic at all. That's putting aside what Zelda's definition of a hero is. Zelda defines it more as someone who wields the spirit of the hero. Does Green Robot Dude have the spirit of the hero, or a faked fragmented version of it? Or perhaps none at all. It's hard to say before the game actually releases, but we know he fails, probably. From the official website, they make it seem like we have a chance at beating Ganondorf, which wouldn't be accurate, but who knows. Nintendo will do whatever they want, and they will probably break the story again.